Hello, my name is Ashley McCants and I'm an occupational therapy student. And today we're going to be talking about developmental red flags for kids ages 0 to 4. So, what are developmental red flags? They are delays in development. Every child develops differently, and some delays may be normal. Developmental milestones are a range. So, when we give you that 2 month range, it could be they get it at 1.5 months, they get it at 2.5 months. So, it's different for each child. However, certain delays can be a signal for help. Red flags are indicators of possible behavior and developmental markers that may need further evaluation. So you might need to go to your doctor and then get a referral for a therapist to see. As a parent, if you notice these red flags, a great way to see if your child needs help is asking for developmental screening. I've talked about these before. You'll typically get these going throughout the lifespan. So you'll get them at the first one is usually at about 9 months old. If your child shows 2 or more signs of red flags, reach out to your baby's doctor for an evaluation. There are also specific red flags and signs for autism spectrum disorder as well, or ASD for short, or autism. I'll have this link below for more info on red flags. It'll also be linked in the PowerPoint below as well. So red flags for 1 to 4 months old, they don't seem to respond to loud noises. This can be a cause for concern for their hearing. They don't seem to be following objects by 2 to 3 months. They also don't smile at the sound of your voice by 2 months, or they don't grasp and hold objects by 3 months. So if you place the object in their hand, if they're not grasping and holding it, that could be a cause for concern. They don't smile at people by 3 months old. They cannot support their head well, like they can't hold it up. There's a lot of bobbing, or they have to lay on one side. That can be a weak neck as well. They don't bring objects to their mouth, because mouthing objects is actually the way that babies explore. They also don't push down when their feet are placed on a firm surface. So if you hold them by their trunk and put them on the floor or on a firm surface, they should be able to push down and push back up with their feet. That's a good test for their leg strength. They can't handle their whole weight, but if you hold them up. They also have trouble moving one or both eyes in all directions, and then crossed eyes most of the time. Occasional crossing is normal in these first few months. So this up here, this picture, this baby is actually crossing their eyes. They're looking towards their nose. You can see they're really close to the middle at the same time, so that means they're crossing them. So this can be a cause for concern for just their eye muscles. So it's a great way to see. It does happen occasionally, but if it's happening all the time, be sure to bring it up to your next doctor appointment. Red flags for 4 to 7 months. So this is the standing that I was talking about before. Usually their feet will be flat and they'll push up against you. But this is also relevant for 4 to 7 months as well. So they don't respond to sounds around them. They have difficulty getting objects to mouth. So if they're going to chew on something, if they can't get it into their mouth, or you notice that they're not chewing on their thumb or they're chewing on other things, that's a cause for concern. They don't turn their head to locate sounds by 4 months. So usually when there's sounds on the side of their head, or their mom calls one way, they're usually able to turn and look at that sound. They don't roll over from their stomach to their back by 6 months. They should be rolling by now. They cannot sit up well by 6 months. So if they're really weak when they're sitting up, like their back is really arched, or they have to lean up against something, or you have to hold them while they're sitting, they should be able to sit pretty good by themselves at this point. They don't laugh or make squealing noises by 5 months. They don't actively reach for objects by 6 months, and they don't follow objects with both eyes. Does not bear some weight on their legs by 5 months. So you can kind of, with the previous 4, you could put them on a flat surface and they'll start to push up against you, but you have to hold most of their weight. Now you should be able to hold less of their weight, but they still need a good amount of support. So red flags for 4 to 7 months. And I know this picture isn't the funnest to look at, but it's a great representation of kind of what floppy or stiff, like ragdoll baby look like. This is a continuation of the 4 to 7 months. So if they seem very stiff and tight, so if their hands are closed a lot, or they're flexed a lot, or they're out a lot, and it's hard to bend them to bring them back. Also, if they seem very floppy or like a rag doll, so like in this picture, you'll see they kind of don't flex their belly muscles. They're not as like strong. You feel like you really have to support them when you're holding. That could be a cause for concern because they are having weakness. Their head still flops when their body is pulled, and you can see that here. Their head is just kind of flopping back and forth when they're pulled. They show no affection for a person who cares for them. So if you're their mother and you're with them a lot, if they're your father or you're just a parent that's with them a lot, they should be starting to show some affection to you. They don't seem to enjoy being around people. One or both eyes is consistently turned in or turned out. So that's the opposite. So either turned in is when it's kind of crossed over, or turned out is to the side with their other eyes looking straight. One or persistent tearing or eye drainage or sensitivity to light, because that can be an indicator of a visual deficit. Red flags for 8 to 12 months, they're not crawling at this point. They'll drag one side of body while crawling for over 1 month, and this is that picture right here. This does happen with crawling sometimes, and usually it goes away pretty quick. They'll drag and only walk with one side of their body. I'll also have linked below to the different crawling styles and development. They cannot stand when supported, so if you set them up and help them pull to stand, they should be able to stand when they're supported by you, like holding their chest and belly up for them. They do not search for objects that are hidden. This is for 10 to 12 months. So if you pick up the rattle and put it under the blanket, they should be able to start searching for it and look under the blanket for it. They'll say no single words. So if they're not saying mama or dada yet, or baba or milk, things like that yet, they should be saying single words. They do not learn gestures such as waving or shaking their head. So if they're not learning to wave, if you do that a lot with your baby, or shaking their head no, usually this is the point where babies start to figure that out and say no, yes. So if they haven't showed that by then, that could be a cause for concern. They do not show interest in playing games like peekaboo or patty cake. And I'll have how to play patty cake below, because I know that that's a hard one to remember when you haven't played it in a while, or if you're new to playing it. But that's a really good game to start with your kiddo, but they should show interest in those games by 8 months. It doesn't mean they'll be able to do them themselves, but they should show interest, that they want to play and they want to do it. Also, if they're not babbling by 8 months, if they're not saying dada, baba, mama, then that's a possible concern as well. So 12 to 24 months, they cannot walk by 18 months. They fail to develop a mature heel to toe pattern. So this just means when you're walking, so if this is like the heel and these are your toes, you're walking like this, heel to toe, heel to toe. Babies, when they start out, it might be more of a this, or they might be on their toes a little bit. Then eventually it'll get, heel to toe when they're stepping like that. And you can see this over here, walk successfully on toes is also cause for concern as well. You can see this kiddo is really on his toes, and that can mean many things too, and that's important to bring up to your doctor if your baby is consistently walking on their toes, because that could mean their calf is tight, or they just don't like the feeling of it on their feet, or they have other muscle issues, or they might have a neurological brain thing going on where it just makes them walk on their toes. They also, if they don't speak at least 15 words by 18 months, they don't use 2-word sentences. So they'll say like more milk, or dog go, or go outside, something like that. By 15 months, they do not seem to know the function of common household objects. So if you brush their hair every day and you give them a brush and they don't know what to do with it, that could be a developmental concern. Do not imitate if they're not imitating actions or words by 24 months. So if you start saying mama, mama to them and they can't say it back to you, or they're not imitating it, or if you're doing actions like washing your face in the morning, or you're eating and they're not mimicking what you're doing, or sometimes it's simple things too, like clapping, if they're not imitating that. And then also if they can't follow simple one-step directions by 24 months. So usually at this point you could put your hand out to the baby and say, give me toy, and they'll give you the toy that they have. And I'll have this link below, like I said, the video on walking and how to teach your baby to walk. Red flags for 24 to 36 months. So frequent falling and difficulty with stairs. Babies should be figuring out how to do stairs by now. Well, at this point they'll be a toddler, but toddler should know how to do stairs. If they have persistent drooling and unclear speech, that could be a speech issue where they have weakness in their mouth if they're drooling a lot. Inability to build a tower of 4 or more blocks. And you can see in this picture, this kiddo is really going for it and building up blocks. If they haven't practiced this before, it might be a little hard for them, but they should be able to if they've tried to play with blocks or stacking things before. Inability to copy a circle by 3 years old. So that's at 36 months right there. That's 3 years old. So if you show them how to draw a circle, they should be able to draw a circle too. Inability to communicate in short phrases. So they should be able to say short sentences to you if they're only using one word or two words still. At this point, they will be doing a lot of I. So they should be saying, I want the milk, or I want milk, things like that. Something longer than more milk. So saying and adding more words to it. No involvement in pretend play at this point. They should be starting to really get into pretend play even before this. They're pretending to be a doctor, pretending to be a chef, pretending to play house. So that's important to know. Failure to understand simple directions. So still with the give me toy or put away the toys. And there's only 3 toys in front of them. They should know how to do that. Also, if they have extreme difficulty from separating from a primary caregiver, like they cannot be consoled after they are separated from mom, dad, or grandma, if grandma cares a lot, or grandpa, things like that. And if they're very hard to calm down, that can be a red flag for concern, socially and emotionally wise. So that would be something to bring up to your doctor. I'll also have this video link below on how to teach your child to climb upstairs safely. Red flags for 3 to 4 years. So if they can't jump in place with both feet, so they're jumping up and down with both feet, they should be able to do that. They also should be able to ride a tricycle. Obviously, if they haven't tried it before, it might be really difficult for them to start, but they should be able to learn how to do it pretty quickly. If they cannot grasp a crayon between their thumb and fingers. So this is a really good picture of the development of the grip over here. So 1 to 2 years, it's really just a fist. And that's usually how they'll eat with their utensils too. They'll just kind of grab a pen here. They'll just hold it like this with a fist, and that's how they'll draw. And then about 2 years, they'll kind of start doing this, kind of drawing like this. Then at that 3 to 4 year mark, it might not be perfect, but they'll probably have it between their fingers like this. So when they're pinching it, we call it a tripod because it's with 3 fingers. So it's usually pointer finger, middle finger, and your thumb that pinch up to right. Also, if they have difficulty with scribbling, that's a cause for concern too. If they cannot copy a circle still, if you draw a circle for them and then they can't copy the circle, that can be an issue too. If they cannot stack 4 blocks, so back to the stacking, that's very important for visual and really seeing those things. That's why it's so important to play, and you should really watch the play video I made about these things too, because that's really how your child learns. So stacking those blocks can really help them learn those things about building and seeing and balance. Also, another one is if they still cling or cry when parents leave them. So at this point, they should be getting pretty good about being not by themselves, but if they get dropped off at Nana and Papa's or they get dropped off at daycare, at this point, they might get a little bit upset, but they should be able to calm down within 10 minutes. But if they're not doing that, then that might be a red flag with social emotional development that they might need a little help with. Also have a video link below. It's from an OT as well. She's awesome. She has a video on teaching your toddler to draw. So I'll have that link below. So red flags for 3 to 4 years continued. If they show no interest in interactive games, so if you're playing games with them, like if you're doing patty cake still, or if they want to play tag, things like that, they should show interest in playing those games. If they ignore other children, that could be cause for social delays in development as well. Doesn't respond to people outside the family. So if they only will talk to family members or interact with family members, but they refuse to react with kids at their daycare or other extended family members or other friends that aren't around a lot. If they don't engage in fantasy play and imaginary play are very important at this stage. And this is where it really comes to be a big thing with 3 to 4 year olds is a lot of imagination play for them. And that's how they kind of get their brain going and thinking about things. And it's how they have fun. So if they're not engaging in any fantasy play, that can be a cause for concern developmentally. If they resist dressing, sleeping, using the toilets, If they lash out without any self-control when they're angry, upset, that's another big one. At this point, they should be getting better with tantrums. Usually by 3, they're mostly gone and rarely happen at this point. 4, especially, they should not be having any temper tantrums about things. They should be able to um, have them cope, take a deep breath, and then talk about their feelings with them. They should be able to come back like that. They don't use sentences of more than 3 words. So we kind of talked about this before. This is another cause for concern if they're saying either words that you can't hear or can't understand still, things like that. Also, if they don't use me or you appropriately, they should know they are me and you are you, and those differences too. I'll also have this link below for more information on imaginary play. So what should you do? If you have concerns about your child's development, you know your child best, so reach out to your doctor. The earlier the better. Keep track of concerns with your child's milestones. I'll have that link below. This will help you remember your concerns that you have and what you want to tell your doctor, because your doctor is going to see them for 30 minutes. Your child might not have a tantrum during that, or your child might not show their symptoms then. So it's really important to keep notes and remember what to tell your doctor exactly so they can help you best. Your doctor may refer your child to additional testing and services if necessary. Also, make sure your child, it's pretty standard, but make sure your child has your developmental screenings at 9, 18, 24, or 30 months old. They might do them sooner or in between those days if you do have concerns. So if they did great at 9 months, but now at 10 months or 12 months, they're not doing so great and you think they might be behind, that's when you can reach out to doctor and ask those questions, since you'll be going to the office anyway for most of the wellness visits. Early intervention services. So this is specific more so to early intervention services in Illinois. It's also called EI for short. Free evaluations will determine your eligibility for these services. Planning and coordinating services for eligible children are free, and this is mostly for children 3 years old and under. That's what early intervention is considered. EI services are funded by a variety of sources, including private, public funds, and it really depends on how much money you make, is how much you'll pay kind of thing. There's a lot that is covered, though, by Illinois. I'll have this link below, too, but the DHS State Illinois page about early intervention services, there's also a clearinghouse to see what kind of services they have available and what that will be. So that could be things from speech therapy, physical therapy, behavioral therapy, occupational therapy, like I'm a student for. So it really just depends on your child's needs. So thank you for attending. Feel free to email me below, check out the links below, and check the other videos on the channel. Have a great day.